This is gonna be TMI, but I started having some, signs of getting a period back. When's it gonna come? Because I knew you don't suddenly just get like a period. You don't just go from 0 to 100 real quick. Little signs have to happen, and that was like the first little sign I had. This is so TMI, like I'm just like, I don't care about talking about this. Probably my pet peeve of recovery, when people say you're gonna always have a problem because you eat healthy. Good morning, guys. So I just got back from training and I really wanted to do a recovery update video because I think they're important to share, and a lot of people have been saying, can you keep doing them? And I feel like I have a lot to update you on from this process. I've just been so busy studying for exams. I've been so tired every day because I've been spending hours and hours every day studying, and I was like really stressed to have this break to film a bit, but I was like, I'm just gonna cop it, take 20 minutes out and film. Okay, so I have quite a few things I wanted to talk about. Firstly, just recovery update in general is going pretty well. Obviously, an eating disorder is a mental health disorder, but it's both physical and mental. And recovery isn't just getting back to a healthy weight or getting a period back. It is a mental and physical thing. So both of those factors are going well. It has taken me a long time, as eating disorders are mental health as well, but it's taken me a long time to do the things physically to start getting to a healthier weight. And now I am in like the 52s, like kilos. So I feel like that's good for me. Like I feel a lot better, honestly, mentally as well as physically. Like obviously that's from, mental changes, but I think it's also to do with physical changes. Like, yeah. Anyway, so I am like 52-ish, in the 52s. I'm going to say, like I'm 52 kilos, but I don't want to say 52 because who cares what the point is. That changes if you drink a liter of water, that's a kilo. Like it fluctuates, but I'm around 52 kilos. And look, I have said before in other videos, don't focus on weight because weight, who cares about weight? And it is so different for anyone. Like, at my lowest, I was 45, which is really, really bad for me. And it just depends on your height, your muscle mass, all of those factors. Like for me, I had like 7% body fat at that weight, but for someone else, they might be healthy at that weight. They might be a lot shorter than I am. They might have a healthy amount of body fat, but be at that weight because, they have less muscle mass, they're shorter, they might get a period there. And then for someone else, 52, for what I'm at now, might be really underweight. It just depends. Everyone's different. But for me, I've gotten to 52, which is obviously a lot more than my lowest. And yeah, so that physically has been going well. And I've been feeling better at training and stuff like that. And yes, my coach still wants me to be 54 before everything goes back to normal. And I'm going to go with that too because I think I still need that. Honestly, like when she said that in my head, I was like, okay, well, I'll aim for 53, even though she wants me to be 54, it'll be fine by 53. But I feel like I don't know, but now I think I just need to do the right thing and get to where she wants me to be. She was like, that's the way you compete at nationals. And I was like, I'm not 100% sure though, and didn't used to really weigh myself. I could have been 53, could have been 54, but we're getting to 54, I guess. And mentally, things have been going pretty well. Like I'm not, obviously an eating disorder is a mental health disorder, and not every day is great, but for the most part, every day is a lot better. I have just been, honestly, this whole journey, I've been so focused on be more normal like you used to be. Just eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and don't freak out about things. And I haven't. I've been like, gee, if we're gonna get dinner out or something, like I enjoy food and I'm not freaked out about it. And I listen to my hunger. Obviously, it's not 100% of the time that you're in a great mindset, but for the most part, I'm in like a normal mindset, how I used to be. Like, when it was my birthday, I went to this vegan restaurant with one of my best friends. It's called Bodhi, I think. Yeah, Bodhi. And it's so yum. And we were like so keen to go and get it. And then we enjoyed it. And then we went and chilled after and didn't think about it. It was just like a fun experience. Yeah, so, just being relaxed and normal about things is one of the biggest reasons to recover, and one of the things that I feel like not defines being recovered, but is part of what you would consider being part of being recovered, I would say. One of the things I really wanted to talk about in this video was people, this is really hard. I don't even know where to start for this. So an eating disorder is both a physical and mental health disorder. Obviously it's a mental health disorder, but it is physical because for someone with anorexia, you get really emaciated. I actually went the other day to one of my old videos just to see something, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna like screen record it and put it like here. I was so shocked at what my face looked like. Like, I was so obsessed with just being really shredded and tiny and back then, and like trying to have abs, and I knew I looked emaciated, like, but I didn't realize how bad it was until I saw this old footage. It's not even that old, it's from like the start of this year, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like my face was like Michael Jackson. I always use Michael Jackson as like a reference for when I looked emaciated. I'm sorry, Michael Jackson, I don't mean that badly. I mean, yes, I do, like I looked bad, but no offense, Michael Jackson. But anyway, I just mean like I looked emaciated and not well, and I wasn't well, mentally or physically. But that's the thing, an eating disorder recovering is mental and physical. So one of the biggest things for me, besides getting to a healthy weight, getting a period back, having a healthy amount of body fat for my body to function properly again, one of the biggest things isn't just all of that, but it's mentally healing. And as I said, I'm trying to be normal and not freak out about eating and not be scared to eat and be scared of food. So one of the biggest things is the whole fear foods thing, and I completely get that. But I really wanted to address this. I've noticed some people have commented, or someone, I don't know if other people have, but someone said on some video, like, Imi is never going to recover or get a period back by only eating healthy foods. And that was, this is hard. This whole thing is hard. Having an eating disorder, talking about recovering, it's a hard thing. Recovering is a hard thing. And that is probably my pet peeve of recovery, or not recovery, just my pet peeve is when people say things like, I don't know, when people say you're going to always have a problem because you eat healthy or something like that. And I'm just like, I get what they're saying, and I get that they're saying it out of kindness, and they really, aren't saying it to be mean or to be like, you're going to not recover, which is a really, tough thing to say. And I know some people say things that aren't nice like that, because they want to scare people. A lot of people say things to scare people into changing. Like when people say, how sometimes people say mean things to people, like, you have a problem, or like, what's wrong with you? Like, I think the person's going to be like, you know what? Yeah, true. I want to like go heal myself, do the right thing, or heal myself. Like, I personally never say things like that to people, because I don't think, saying scary things like that is going to help, because I know that the person probably knows what they're doing is bad in their heart, at least. But if you say to someone like, what's wrong with you, eat, like, go eat a burger, like, that's not going to help, Anyway, okay, back to what I was trying to say. Okay, I get that people are probably trying to be nice or have the right intentions. That's what I was looking for. But I get that. But I also just wanted to talk about this because that's everyone's version of what is recovery is going to be different. And I know there's people out there that clearly have, they post things online to an audience watching them, so they have an influence on people, and they clearly have some type of problem, whether that be a mental or physical. Usually if it's an eating disorder, it's both. But you can see, because they look emaciated physically, and I don't I'm not going to be one of those people who look emaciated physically and promote a type of diet or something like that. I like to promote a healthy diet, but at the same time, I promote that people do what's right for them. And that might mean having a treat every now and then, which is completely fine. But for me, recovered is about being how I, happy and healthy mentally as well as physically, obviously. But mentally, for me, like when someone said you are never going to be recovered because you don't have junk food, I was just like, oh, okay. Yes, you have to be mentally recovered and, have the things that were fear foods for you. But that was literally never junk food for me. Like, I ate a healthy diet for years before I had a mental health disorder or an eating disorder, and I never felt restricted or like in a bad mindset. I literally was the happiest I had ever been. I was just like normal teenager, you know, in the last few years of high school, and I was like happy and not in a bad mindset. And then obviously when I was in a bad mindset and had an eating disorder, things weren't good at all. It was a really dark place. It's like one of the hardest things and the most horrible things that can happen to you, because it is a mental health problem. But for me, recovering has been like getting back to being how happy I was before that. And like I never had junk food in my diet before that. And for someone to comment like, you're never going to be recovered until you eat junk food, or if you always eat healthy, I was just like, how can you say that? I always ate healthy before and I was so happy and relaxed. And like for someone to say, you know, you can't be recovered because you don't eat junk food, I was like, but I didn't before. I was so happy. It's not part of my life. Like, and I am not going to go and be like, you know what, like to be recovered means I have to go and eat, to have, you know, junk food or something I've never had in my diet before. So, but because this person's saying you have to have junk food in your diet to be recovered, because an eating disorder, it basically means, you know, you're scared of junk food. So I'm going to go to the shops, eat a block of chocolate just to show this person that I can be recovered. Like I get where they're coming from, and you have to not have fear foods and have a restrictive mindset. But for me, like it hasn't been junk food because I just never had that in my diet before, and it's not something I want to have in my diet. And that's not out of a disordered mindset, which sucks that I've had this problem, because now people can say stuff like that. But I know in my heart it's not, because I know the things that were really intense in my mind and the things that I deal with sometimes, but the things when I was in a dark place. And for me, recovering, I just spat heaps. I don't know if that would have come through in the video. But for me, yes, recovering mentally is a huge thing, and overcoming fear foods has been a big thing, and it's something that, you know, is so much better in life once you do. And I have, for the most part, pretty much overcome the things that were fear foods for me, and like, and they weren't junk foods because I never had those normally, but it was things when I got into a really bad place, the things that I started really restricting were things like just normal foods that are generally healthier, but they were what I became afraid of. And there were things like, you know, whole grain, like toast. Like I never had white bread in my house growing up. It was just like whole grain toast. So normal wholemeal bread, having like curries or like a stir fry, or basically a dinner where it was healthy things but with like a sauce or made in a curry, which that's not bad for you. If you have a curry with all the veggies and like, you know, chicken and rice and stuff in a curry, that's not bad for you, but I became so afraid of that. Like literally I remember when my mum would make, I don't know, like a green curry, like a Thai green curry, I'd do things like, you know, pretend I wasn't hungry even though I was starving, and wait for hours and then eat later on when everyone had finished eating and like gone off to bed and stuff. And then I could pretty much have the same thing but without the sauce and stuff, like and weigh it all out, like rice, brown rice. I didn't have white rice before. Like obviously my house at home we only have brown rice, but like every now and then if we go out I'll have, and there's only white rice. I'm not afraid to have that now. And like but yeah, I would make like brown rice, chicken and veggies with like no sauce or anything, weigh it all out. And I was just afraid to like, you know, I don't know why. It's in your head. And I was scared to not weigh out every single thing. I was scared to not count every calorie. I was scared to have enough calories. I was scared of like health food bars that I have now, just because, I don't know, they were in a packet or they had a little bit of oil in it, or just like things that became a fear for me. What else? Literally like food in general, which is so hard because you need food every day to survive, especially for someone who has a very high energy intake needs, like myself. You need it every day, and to like be scared to eat it is really bad for anyone really. But for someone who's never had any problem with this, they might be watching and thinking like, this is so silly, like what, that's so silly, like how can you just be afraid of foods, like just eat, it's just food. And how can you not eat when you're hungry? Because that's another, not fear food, but a thing that I've been overcoming was, I don't know why, but I would get, if I got really hungry early in the day, I would starve. I'd be like, I can't eat, it's so early in the day, like it's too early to have lunch. So I just, you know, be really hungry for hours. And like, obviously you just eat when you're hungry. And like in the like, so for someone who hasn't had a problem, like, because I know I used to think this before I went through stuff like this, I'd be like, what? I'd be so confused. I'd be like, why don't you just eat if you're hungry? Like, just eat. Like, what? Mind blown. Like, and when I saw people not eat much, I'd be like, bro, like, eat. Like, when I'm hungry, I eat a lot, and I eat a lot now. But when you go through it, you kind of, it just changes. Like, I don't blame myself. It's not your fault. But yeah, like, it's a panic. It's hard to explain briefly, but you know, you freak out about eating foods. Your blood rushes, your heart pounds. Like, it's scary. You don't want to do that. You don't want to eat. That sounds so silly, but it's like, it's not like I don't know. It's genuinely like, I can't do that. Like, I will hate, like, it's so hard to explain, but it's not simple. It's not just like, I'm hungry, I eat. It's like, I'm hungry, I can't eat. I can't do it. So for me, recovering has been being normal again and having fear foods, which for me was never junk food. And like, it's so much more relaxed now, because like I can get home from training and they'll be like, you know, my mum, a curry that someone's made in my house, and I'd be like, oh, yum, that looks great, and I'll like eat heaps, and I'll be like, that was bomb. Or like a dal, like my dad loves making dal with like lentils and like spices and stuff, and yum, I had that last night. But like, when I was in a bad place, I would be so scared to have that. So just things like that. And it's so much more enjoyable, because then you can like not only enjoy the food, but you enjoy life, because you're not stressed about life or panicking about food. Like, you can, you know, if your mum's like, oh, we're going out to dinner in a few weeks for my birthday, like, I'll be like, oh, where are we going? Like, cool, we can, like, obviously I know it's like a restaurant, there's going to be healthy options, which is what I used to think in the past. I'd be like, oh, cool, I'll get a healthy option, keen to go out for dinner. When I was in a bad place, I would be like panicking, and I'd be like, oh my god, I want to get out of this. I need to do anything I can to get out of the going, because like I can't eat out. I'm scared of everything in that situation, and that for me is just, oh my gosh, if that's happening to you, like, and you just can't bring yourself to recover, let that be the reason you recover, so you enjoy life and like going out with friends and stuff. That has been for me a big thing of recovering. I was honestly proud of myself when I did things like that, even though it sounds silly. But when someone comments like, Imi will never be recovered because she doesn't eat junk food, or she restricts junk food, like, it's not restricting. Restricting is when you need, it's like a normal food you include in your diet normally, or something that you need to eat, or that's something that you want to eat, and you want it, and your body needs it, and you are like, I'm not letting myself have that. I don't think about junk food in my life. Like, I never crave it. I never want it. It's not in my life. It's not in my house. Like, my parents don't go and buy it. Like, it's just not something I have normally. And when someone says you're not going to be recovered because you don't do that, it's like, that's not fair. That's like, I get that they're saying it out of the good intention, but I just would like people to respect my own, you know, life, and people need to respect everyone else's different versions of recovery. And I don't want to say versions of recovery, because I do think it sounds like escape for people who clearly have problems to post things online and be like, no, my version of recovery is this, like that. So it's hard to say. And I don't mean like a version of recovery as in like some people can get away with keeping a restrictive mindset. If you have a restrictive mindset, that's not recovery. But I never had that in my diet before, so I don't, you gotta, even though it's hard when people comment things, little things, like, you ignore what they say, but it might play on your mind. But sometimes you have to take everything with a grain of salt and be like, I get what they're saying, but they don't really know how things work in my mind. Like, in my mind, the things that I was afraid of, that I panicked, that I know is disordered, never involved junk food. And I don't want to go out and be like, I must have something that's junk food. Like, I need to go have cake or something to prove that I'm recovered. I don't want to say I can change the rules. It's not that there's rules, but you can't do that. But it is a mental health thing. So if you mentally know from you do things in a disordered way, then that is restrictive. And I know the things that I did do that were mentally disordered, and those are the things that I'm, recovering. Anyway, this rant is going long and there were a few other things I wanted to cover, so I'm just going to stop that. So recovery is going well. I'm mentally and physically getting a lot better. Actually, last night I was kind of got a bit down because I just thought to myself, like my coach always says, as an athlete, you have to learn to be very, very patient. And especially having an injury, I had to learn to be very patient. But obviously, sometimes you get frustrated and upset when things are going down the drain or downhill. And for me, like at first, I was so bad with it and it would just upset me. And I'd always be dwelling on how the fact that I was improving as an athlete when I was like 15, 16, 17, and then, shit happened. Injuries and mental things happened and I've just gone down, and I'm trying to like obviously come back up. And obviously like all of last year, I knew I could start getting better if I got better physically from an eating disorder, but I couldn't do that because it was mental, and that's another thing that's been motivating me to recover. But as I've like gotten to a better weight and stuff, I've just had to learn to be really patient and not look at times at training and be like, what's wrong with me? Because at first I'd be like, what's wrong with me? I ran 5 seconds faster like 4 years ago. You're meant to get better, not worse, But I've just kind of learned to be patient and be like, I know it'll come with time as I get better, but I have to do the right thing by me and my body. But anyway, I kind of just thought last night, I got really down and I was like, my ship has sailed. Like I was okay as a junior. I'm never going to be a good senior athlete because, I'm not getting better. Everything's going slow and it feels like an eternity. It feels like a long time. I was just having a bad moment. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to, I'm going to keep going, but it's not always easy to be positive all the time. Anyway, and I used to always tell my coach, like, I was such a Debbie Downer. No, I'm not such a Debbie Downer. I take that back. I just mean when I think bad thoughts, I always have to talk to someone about it. My dad, my friends, my coach, someone. And I haven't talked to her about stuff in a while because I stopped being frustrated with times and just was like, trust the process. You're recovering. Anyway, this morning at training, I just said to her, I had a bad moment last night and I was just thinking how I'm never going to be good or decent. I'm not going to be where I want to be. I don't know. And she was just like, if you want to choose to believe that, then it's up to you what you choose to believe. And yeah, I'm also the same, a big believer in whatever you believe, you can make true for yourself. Check out my life philosophies video. No, but seriously, I always believe that if someone really believes in themselves, they can do something because they can, they always believe in themselves. They don't give up. And yeah, so I'm usually like that and I still am like that. It's hard to always be positive, as I said. And I was like, no, I'm not going to give up, I'll believe in myself, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying. But it's I don't know how to explain it. And she said the right things. And she was like, you have to believe in yourself. And, it's a long journey. You can't just expect time to start going back to where they were. She was like, what happened to you? I know it was a mental health disorder, but it is self-inflicted. And I've talked about this in other videos, how it's not your fault at all. You can't control a mental health disorder, but it is up to you to recover. And I guess, yes, it is self-inflicted. You're the one that starves and overtrains and, does all of that. And that happens. So she was like, if you believe in yourself, you do the right thing, you get better, you get to 54 kilos, you can run faster again. But she was like, because I was like, I thought now that I've gotten to 52, my times would drastically drop because I wasn't so emaciated and stuff. And she was like, you ran your PBs at 54. I think, I don't know, I was 53 or 54. I don't know. And she was just like, I reckon we just need to get to that weight and then do a solid 3 months or 4 months. And then if your times aren't improving, you can start to worry, or we can talk about plan B or whatever. But, you have to give, she also said something that I appreciated, which was once you get to a weight that's good for you or even get a period back, you have to give your body time to catch up. It's not if you're an athlete, for example, and you get to 54 kilos, you get a period back and you're still not running fast, you can't expect it to happen straight away. It's going to take time for your body to catch up and be like, I'm ready to get faster again or to get stronger again now that I am healed. So I was like, you know, I needed to hear that, because I know that sounds very logical, but I needed to be told, you know, don't think you're shit, because you need to just let your body heal first. And she was like, the whole point of training for these last few months was to enjoy it, not to worry about it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And that's what I've been focusing on. But it does sometimes get a bit frustrating when you do have a little sneaky think about times, like have a sneaky look at the times and just think about it, and it plays in your mind, like, why am I running times that I was running faster than when I was 16? But anyway, so that was just a little thing where I just wanted to mention that. You gotta just trust everything will work out, but give yourself time to heal, which is what I'm kind of trying to tell myself, but anyone else who needs to hear that. Last thing I wanted to quickly mention, this is gonna be TMI, but I started having some, you know, signs of getting a period back. I literally didn't have any signs of a period for like since it left, which is just under 2 years ago. Nothing, like completely like a child. And I started to get a few signs. This might be TMI, so tune out now if you're like an awkward person or a hater. But I got, this is before I got my very first period when I was like 13 and a half. Obviously you start getting discharge. I forgot what this was called. But, and I remember when I started first getting that when I was like 13, I used to freak out every time I could feel a bit of like dampness, and I'd go to this is so TMI, like I'm just like, I don't care about talking about this, but I know that there's going to be people watching this like, ew, what's wrong with you talking about this? Like, if you're thinking that, you're like 12. Anyway, I used to, when I got that, I'd be like, oh my God, I think my period's here. Like, it feels like damp, or like not wet, but like damp. And I'd be like, and I'd always go to the bathroom, and it was always discharged. And it'd never been my period, except the one time when it was my period, but that's another story. Anyway, and the other day I felt that, and I went, it was the tiniest bit, but I was just like, that's like a sign of a period, which I haven't had in like 2 years. And I was just like, because before I wasn't getting any signs of a period. Like, it was just completely like nothing. And I was just like, when's it going to come? Because I knew you don't suddenly just get like a period. You don't just go from 0 to 100 real quick. Little signs have to happen. And that was like the first little sign I had. And I was just like, bro. And I forgot what it was called. And I messaged one of my friends, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think my period's going to come soon. Because you know when you like get that, you know, that kind of like white sticky stuff. I know, ew, gross, whatever. And she was like, oh my God, discharge. I was like, oh, that's what it's called. And she was like, wait, you didn't even get that for 2 years? And I was like, she's like, I thought you at least get that when you don't have a period. I was like, no, because your hormones don't work, I guess. Because like a period is controlled by hormones. All of the little things like discharge and stuff are like hormonal, and your hormones don't work. And that's why you're also cold all the time, because your thermoregulation doesn't work. And also because you don't have body fat to insulate you. But anyway, so that was like the first little sign I had. And I was just like, yeah, the freaking girls, like, oh my gosh. So stay tuned, because she's coming. Anyway, and it also inspired me today talking to my coach when she was like, let's get to a healthy weight, solidly train, and then assess again. And I was like, well, in order to do that, I need to be at the weight that my coach wants me to be at, which is 54 kilos. And I'm like literally 1 and a bit away from that. Like, oh my gosh. And I can't, and if anyone's like, just scull a liter of water, that does not count. It can't just be like, obviously after a meal, you might go up, your body weight fluctuates. Weigh yourself in the morning, so it's like a consistent time that you're weighing yourself, because like obviously every day is different, what you eat, when you go to the bathroom. So I try to just weigh myself in the morning. Honestly, why am I telling people when to weigh themselves? This is just how I know people don't weigh themselves in recovery, and it's a bad mindset, but I'm not doing it out of a bad mindset. Like, if I didn't weigh myself, I wouldn't be pushing myself to eat more, because I don't know if I have the best body mindset. I probably don't, but I think like, oh my gosh, I look too big or whatever, or like I shouldn't keep trying to gain weight. But by looking at the scale, I know I need to. So it's just something that helps me to like push myself to have more. Anyway, oh yeah, so anyone saying I'm never going to get a period because I don't eat junk food, I eat a lot, and I've been getting signs of a period, so chill. Anyway, no, that wasn't to be hateful. I just mean like everyone needs to kind of respect that other people's recovery or terms of being recovered are going to be different, and they can't decide that. It's what your mind decides. So you can't be some, you know, person who only eats lettuce and your terms are, or you do raw vegan, so you only eat fruits and veg, and you say like, my terms of recovered isn't that, like, because I don't feel like that's really recovered. And someone else might be watching this being like, well, that's how I feel about you not eating junk food. And fair enough, I get that they're saying that out of their own personal experience of what recovered means, and also they have good intentions, because when I say someone who only eats like salad, for example, when I say salad, I don't mean like a real salad with like lentils and chickpeas and sweet potato and falafels. That's a salad. I mean like a genuine salad of lettuce and tomato. Like for me, I guess that for me that wouldn't be recovered if that was my diet. And so that's why if I look at someone, that's such a bad example, because that's a really unhealthy diet to just have. That's really cutting out important food groups. But junk food isn't an important food group, so I'm not cutting out essential things. I'm not trying to change what recovered means to fit what I'm afraid of, is what I'm saying. I'm saying I know in my head I don't have disordered things in this lifestyle, being healthy, so I can continue that, but I have to recover from that. I do have to conquer the actual things that are fear foods for me, which isn't KFC, because I've never had KFC in my life. So I'm not going to go out and get it to show someone I'm recovered. But I will do things that I was afraid of, like going out to a restaurant and getting a curry. Yum. Anyway, I am talking for way too long, and at least I didn't freak out about not studying because I was getting into this video. But now I need to go freak out about not studying for this last half an hour. No, jokes, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to actually study. Anyway, I'm going to try and keep you guys more tuned in the loop. I don't know the words. But anyway, sorry for being a bit MIA, being super freaking busy. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.